right, so I'm going to be talking about the Fermi method. How is this related to DeSci? Well, it's less related to decentralization and more related to science in a sense. Why is this important? So today I'm going to give you three things. I'm going to give you a story, a method, and we are going to do a cool workshop together. What's the point of this talk? The point of this discussion is so that you start with start to get a feel for numbers. I want you to start from math is hard because math was hard for me when I started off, and then I sort of discovered why school was kind of wrong in how it taught me math, and I discovered this through the Fermi method, and I sort of double clicked on this idea and started exploring it. And I want to share what I found out with you guys, so that hopefully you learn how to get a feel for numbers. And it's essentially about like how to make decisions in an uncertain world, and this is really helpful when dealing with decentralized finance, just anything in general. So yeah, I go by 10K on the internet. I am just a science bro. I did aerospace engineering. I work as a materials engineer in real life, and I'm building this game called Fermi.Fun to teach Fermi estimation. And I also host a podcast called Block Builds. So the story about Enrico Fermi. I don't know if you guys know who Enrico Fermi is. He was a physicist. He was part of the Manhattan Project. He was one of the guys who built like the atomic bomb. And there's this one cool story about Fermi. He was set to stand like a few kilometers away during the Trinity test. And when the bomb went off, Fermi took like tiny bits of paper and he dropped them on the ground. And he just observed how slowly they fell before the bomb went off and during the blast wave. And then the difference in time that it sort of took for these pieces of paper to fall on the ground, he used that to estimate the size of the bomb. He guesstimated it to be around like 10 kilotons of TNT or something, and it turned out to be around 50 kilotons of TNT. So that's how powerful guesstimates can be. And guesstimates also give you ideas when you start applying these techniques to whatever you're working on. It could be protein folding, it could be DeFi, it could be yeah, pretty much any problem you can apply these skills to. So that was the story. What's an example of a Fermi problem? Here's a really good example that you deal with in DeFi. How many transactions are made on the Ethereum blockchain in Brazil compared to the transactions made in America? Now, this problem, if you look at it, sounds quite daunting to begin with, but it can be solved through, like, you can get like a rough order of magnitude estimate through Fermi estimation. And I'm going to give you the method, and then you can sort of try to solve this problem on your own and like share your answers. So, this is the method, right? The first thing we're taught in school is to have accurate answers. You need like really high accuracy, but turns out in the real world, well, you don't really need accuracy. You can have like you can compromise accuracy for speed. So how do you do that? You take any big problem, you break it down into chunks, you throw in some approximate numbers, you bound the problem, and then you do a reality check. Let's do a quick workshop to try and apply this. I think that's the best way to sort of get an idea of how Fermi estimation works. So I want you guys to pick one of these problems, and we're gonna solve it together in like 5 minutes because that's the time we have. I don't have access to the chat, so I'm just gonna check if someone can help me out with that. I just need like if chat has chosen one of the problems that I've been sort of sharing, one of these four problems. I just need to know which one they want to solve. Yeah, I don't see anyone pick a problem, so I'm just gonna pick one. Uh, so let's try to do the first one. If all of the world decides to use one blockchain to settle transactions, what would the world TPS be? So, so first we gotta break that problem down. How would you sort of break this problem down? So, in order to break this down, what are some of the things we need to know? We need to know the world population. We need to know the transactions per second of each person on planet Earth, right? So I'd break this down as into two parts: world population and transactions per person. Now you can sort of you can break this further down into population of your country. If you don't know the world population, it's about 8 billion. But let's say you don't know the world population, you can just break it down into population of America times like rough approximation of how many countries are there, just like America. So since we know it's like 8 billion, and then like how many, like how do you break down transactions per person? Just look at like how many transactions you make per single day, like every day. I make about 10 to 20 transactions, not more, and the average should be somewhere around there. So once you break it down like that, you throw in some numbers. So we already know like the world population, and we know like we can have like this as, let's say, 10 billion, just to get the order of magnitude. And let's say this is around 10, right? So we put in some numbers, and then we can bound the problem. So the world population is not exactly 10 billion, it's 8 billion, right? So you can have like a max and a min. Let's say the minimum population is like 1 billion, and then the transaction can be like 1 to 100. Some people transact more. So uh, even on this one, you can further refine it. Like, you know that not everyone's going to hit transact at the same time, right? So some people are active during their day doing transactions, and some people are sleeping. So it's almost like a Mexican wave across the world when someone does a transaction. So it's, these numbers are can be divided depending on the latitude and longitude. But let's just say ideally these are the numbers. uh, we just like multiply this, right? Like 1 billion times 10, that's 10 billion transactions per second. That's, let's say, the minimum value is like 10 billion transactions TPS, and then the maximum is 100 billion TPS, which is not the case. It's the theoretical maximum. Now if you're designing a blockchain, you should be able to sort of use these numbers and, like, figure out what's possible and what's not. Let's say you're using Solana and it has a TPS of like 4,000. You should be able to tell how many countries can sort of make one transaction, just knowing that number times the number of nodes there are, of course. So then you do a reality check. How do you do that? You just go to Google and try to get some answers, or you apply the same technique but from a different approach, and then try to validate your answer. But yeah, that's the Fermi method for you. Like, I've also collected some resources. If you guys want to check out more Fermi resources, you can visit these links. Some of them are books, some of them are videos, and some of them are blog posts. And if you want to access the app Fermi.Fun that I've built to practice these problems, you can just DM me on Twitter, and then I'll give you access to the app. You can scan this QR code for that. And you can also download this presentation from Gumroad. I'm going to share the link. I'm going to let this be for a few seconds so that you can scan and take a picture. And this is the link to this presentation. All right, so that was it. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed. Just DM me with any questions you have, and I can sort of yeah give you access to resources or whatever help you need around this. Thanks so much, guys.